the best steakhouse is Peter Luger's. That's also like no pretense. It's like, it's a very New York thing. You come there, you got steak. I mean, you got a plate of onion, I think onions and tomatoes, like not fancy, just a plate of onions and tomatoes and a huge steak. And that's what it's about. It's just about keeping things simple. And so Peter Luger's keeps things simple. It's just about good food. You know, the atmosphere is just like many tables. You know, it's not about like, the ambiance is like, there's not so much with ambiance, but it's like, you know, like it's like you're here to eat. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's just bare bones, like great food.
Gosh.
가자!
가자!
Oh yeah, the best steakhouse. Oh, well, that's an easy one. I mean, the normal answer that anybody would give is a place called Smith and Wollensky. That's just like a few blocks away from here on 48th and 3rd Avenue, or 49th, something like that. And yeah, these steaks there are amazing, but obviously it's not cheap. I think, you know, you've got to count at least $50 for just a steak. But the quality of the meat is unbelievable. It really like melts in your mouth, and it's very good. So this is the obvious answer. That restaurant was actually mentioned very explicitly, I think, in The Devil Wears Prada, the movie, you know it? And where I think at some point the boss of like the main character asks her to get her steak from Smith and Wollensky. So it's really like a very big and very known place in New York. There's like only one of them. So yeah, definitely a place to try. But I would still say that there's a place I really love when it comes to steak, and they have the best steak of New York, if not of the world. It's a place called Rue 57, which is on the corner between 57th Street and I think 6th Avenue, if it's not 5th. Anyway, it's somewhere around there, so very close to Central Park. And that place is a French restaurant. It's actually called Rue 57, which means 57th Street in French. And so they have a steak, which is a steak with crusted pepper, and it's unbelievably good because it's the pepper is actually put on the steak, and because it's burnt against the steak, it makes like a crust that's both has an amazing texture and at the same time is extremely flavorful because it's pepper. So for people who really like pepper, it's something I recommend. I would say if you can only get one steak on your trip to New York, you should get the pepper steak of Rue 57 rather than go to Smith and Wollensky. But obviously, if you have time for both, go for it.
Everyone, but my personal favorite is Wolfgang's Steakhouse. First of all, it's close to my job. It's on 54th Street. I work on 50th. And it's, you know, it's no frills, just, you know, regular, you know, place with round tables where you go with a bunch of coworkers or a bunch of buddies. And it has, you know, it's old school Italian style type of, you know, tables and atmosphere. But at the same time, they do serve the most phenomenal steak. You know, you go there for the steak. You don't go there for the luxurious looks. This one is just about the meat. It's about the presentation, and it's about how you feel when you go there. And when I go there, I feel like, you know, I'm at home. You just feel comfortable being there.
There actually is a dollar pizza store, and I hate to admit it because it's a dollar pizza store, but it actually has really good pizza. And I know because I've eaten so much pizza that if you x-rayed me, there'd be like pepperoni on my like kneecaps because I've had so much pizza. And I really appreciate that you can get like really good food for so little money in the city. So and it's, you know, and so I want to give it props. I want to give the dollar pizza store props. You know what? Kaza! I mean, it's not all dollar pizza stores, but this one particular dollar pizza store that's a block away from me is like has really good pizza. And it's not just the it's so good that it even made me want to try like the other kind of pizza because I really like the dollar pizza. So now I will splurge and go $1.50 for like you know, a grandma slice, or $2 for a square because that's also great too. So it's like, you know, I really, really love that pizza, that dollar pizza that is a block away from me.
So the best New York City pizza is in Brooklyn. I actually forgot how it's called. Oh no, I know how it's called. So the best place called Forcella, and it's in Brooklyn. It's 485 Lorimer Street in Brooklyn. So I gotta tell you a story about that place, because if you had asked me the question like 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to answer. So I was with a friend who told me that she is invited to go to a place to try out different pizzas, because the guy making the pizzas is going to help them set up pizza for their camp at Burning Man, which is like a festival in the summer. Anyhow, and so of course, you know, free pizza and like being able to taste pizza, there's nothing more exciting than that. So I said, sure, let's do that. So we went to that place, and so it turns out that that guy who's Italian, I think his name is like Giulio, he got a special, like he has a special invention to do like amazing pizzas, and so much so that that's how he got his green card, which is really remarkable, because usually, you know, in order to get a green card, either it takes a lot of time, or if you're really an exceptional person, like an athlete or a musician, or, and so he's like the kind of like Michael Jackson of pizzas, if you want. He's like very good, and so he made us try his different pizzas. So some of the pizzas that are really absolutely amazing are pizzas where he actually, I mean, he showed us how he does them. So usually, you know, the pizza, you just prepare the dough and then you put it in the oven, and that's a pizza. What he does is he takes the dough and he actually fries it like in a fryer for like 20 or 30 seconds, and then he puts it in the oven. And so that means that you have a dough that's soft and at the same time slightly fried, and then goes in the oven, and it's delicious. It's like the texture is unbeatable. Even if you have just a very plain margarita pizza with like just, you know, tomatoes and mozzarella and nothing else, but just because of the dough being so crusty and crunchy and at the same time still soft, it's extremely good. And so yeah, I would really recommend that place. He's gonna open a couple of other restaurants, I think, in Manhattan or in other cities, but it's really great. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Wow.
He was a friend of people who are organizing the kitchen for the camp, for one of the camps at Burning Man. So Burning Man is a big festival in the summer, and people go there usually with a camp. And one of the biggest camps in New York that is going to Burning Man is around like 100 people who are meeting throughout the year, and then finally go to Burning Man in the summer, in August. So these people, they need to prepare for Burning Man, and so all the logistics, they have like all the camping equipment and the water and the bathrooms and all that. And one of the very important things that a camp supplies is some of the basic food. I don't think they actually supply, you know, food all throughout the day, every day, but they at least supply some of them. And so they're always keen to figure out things that are nice and not too hard to do in the middle of the desert. And also one of the ideas around Burning Man is that you prepare stuff as a camp, and you hope that you're going to have visitors from another camp who come to, you know, try some of your stuff. And so they definitely wanted something that's going to be very popular, that's original. So instead of having like just plain pizzas, they would have like the pizza from the guy who's really like the, you know, so good that he would get like a green card. That's, you know, says a lot about how good he is.
So the best pizzeria, I think, is Numero 28 Pizzeria, which is right next to my house. I just go out there 1 block away, and I can have some amazing pizza. They come in some unique sizes. You get the large, it's about this big, and it's not round, it's goes like this. It's shaped, I forgot what the shape is called. I haven't done, math in a long time. I haven't done geometry, but You know, it's not round, so it's like that. And you could also get a square one, of course. But you know, the pizza is absolutely phenomenal, and I love going there for just a quick bite, just dinner date or something. It's good.
I love places in New York that retain a lot of like New York culture and flavor and things like that. And there was a street in New York, and it's kind of changing now, called Elizabeth Street. What was great about Elizabeth Street was that it had like some new shops coming in, but it also had like very old world, like people from Italy still living on Elizabeth Street. And it was like a butcher, and the, you know, like the butcher was there, and the, you know, when you have a butcher, you know, you have like a culture around it that supports a butcher. So you have, you know, like little Italian ladies that need like, you know, like sausages, and you have, you know, like, people that are like, you know, like need their cheese and stuff. And so like I used to like Elizabeth Street used to be like one of my favorite streets to like to walk down, because it was very much like you had the smaller like the buildings that like immigrants first lived in, so they were tinier. And then you had all like this sort of new wave of like, you know, like very artistic kind of like stores coming in. So so Elizabeth Street, like one of my favorite places. I also like I love like just the waterfront too. I just love to walk to the water, the edge of the water, the west side, and just sort of sit down on a bench and just look at New Jersey. Yeah, just look at New Jersey. It takes away all the stress, and it kind of makes you feel, yeah, it just renews you. Like if you sit on the waterfront in New York and look like at New Jersey, or if you're in Brooklyn, you look at the city. That's also a really pretty place too. One of my favorite places is to go like to Brooklyn Bridge Park and to just watch the city and to watch the sunset. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Like when you see the sun go down over the city from Brooklyn Bridge Park, amazing. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Kaza!
What is the best area do you like most in New York?
I guess I like East Village. So East Village is around like downtown of the kind of part of the Manhattan that is still grid. So it's around 3rd and 2nd Avenue and 8th Street. I mean, I think it's 8th Street, which is called St. Mark's Place. So this is a very nice neighborhood where you have a lot of little shops with completely random things. You have a lot of tattoo parlors, but you also have little shops with like old books and all kind of things that I would never buy, but it's still fun to enter these shops because they have so much kind of you know, it's so different from what you would see more in Midtown, where you have these branches, always the same companies, the same big brands. Instead, you have these little shops, independent shops with very, very original articles that you would never find anywhere else. And so that's very nice. There are lots of bars as well. In the summer, lots of people are walking outside in the streets, and there are also quite a few places where people are selling stuff directly in the streets, where they're selling all kind of things like hats and sunglasses and God knows what. So yeah, there's a very nice atmosphere there, and it's definitely more populated with people walking than if you go more towards Midtown. If you walk on like 5th Avenue in the evening in the summer, you're not going to see many people, while on St. Mark's Place you're going to see people all over the place. It's not very far from Union Square, but it's the same kind of vibes of like a lot of people. It's not very far from the university, I think, from NYU. So because of that, clearly it's very young, it's very dynamic, and so yeah, it's a very nice area.
But my most adored, area in the city is probably Central Park. I've had some great times there. And Central Park is just so diverse. You can do anything in Central Park. You can go for a bike around the city. You can go play some ball. You can go, roller skate. You can go for a run. You can go work out. You can go have a picnic. There's just so many things you can do there. You can just go cut school when you're, you know, in 9th grade and you want to cut school with your friends. You just go to Central Park, you hang out there while everybody's going to school. You know, everybody just comes together and they can hang out together, and there's no difference between classes or between anything. You know, it's just Central Park.
What do you think about South Korea?
Whoa. 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 Well, I mean, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I love Korean food, right? I love barbecue. So I love kimchi. Kimchi! Kaza! I love kimchi. So, you know what I love about South Korea? I think that the South Koreans are so passionate about politics. I mean, when you look at some of the things that are happening in different countries with the leaders and things like that, South Koreans will always go out and march. Like, it doesn't happen like that in Japan, right? Like, it's all quiet, whatever. South Koreans will go out and march. They'll, like, burn things. They'll, like, fight. You get pictures of people, like scream, like, ah! Like, people are just so passionate in South Korea, and I love it. Like, no one else in Asia is anyone that passionate when it comes to, like, protesting. I mean, the Chinese protest, but then they have to, you know, there's a limited degree of what they can do because of the government. But the South Koreans just go all out. Like, it's like, oh my God, it's another protest in South Korea. I love it. The workers protest. Everyone, they hate the government. They hate the president. Like, it's just like everybody hits the street and they go crazy. So that's what I love about South Korea.
Good.
You can make it like, ah! You can make it like that. It's always like that, like that.
What is that?
A picture that you see in the news, like when South Koreans protest, they're just like always like over their eyes are closed and they're just like, ah, they're just so passionate.
What do you think about South Korea?
Oh, what do I think about South Korea? Well, up until recently, I didn't know much about South Korea until I met an amazing girl who suddenly gave me the desire to go there and like meet everybody there. So yeah, well, South Korea comes across as a very dynamic country. It's a country that's you know, clearly very innovative. They're a bit of a kind of like small version of Japan, but with maybe a bit more freedom and also a bit more joy than Japan, because I think Japan over the last 20-30 years they've been a bit depressed for all kind of reasons. Their economy has been down and all that, while for South Korea it's been the opposite. So it's clearly a very friendly country. I mean, it's very hard to think of South Korea without thinking of North Korea, and obviously North Korea is like the saddest country on earth, at least according to, you know, what you hear in the news and how the whole country gets portrayed. And so yeah, I hope that maybe someday the two countries will be reunited, and then it would be South Korea, which is like even bigger than it is now, and that could be cool. So so yeah, I think I would love to visit it someday if I get the chance.
Yeah.
Between Japanese and Chinese, there are some things in common in terms of the alphabet, and I didn't realize that Korean was very different. But now that I know it, yeah, I mean, clearly Korean is like the letters are a bit rounder and all that. Mm-hmm. So that's, yeah, this I know.
What do you think about South Korea?
Was this the good one or the bad one?
South Korea.
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Not Kim Jong-un? No? Okay. You ready now?
Yeah.
Okay. So South Korea, well, first thing that comes to mind when I think of South Korea is all women have plastic surgery. Guys look like girls. And they love to eat dog.
He's racist!
No, it's just the first things that come to mind, you know.
Okay.
It's not something that, it's not like a stereotype or anything, it's just that, you know, the facts, how I think, those are the facts that, those are the things that I believe are true, about South Korea. You know, women get plastic surgery, girls, you know, guys are very girlish, and they like a, you know, certain cuisine, like eating dogs.
Give me a good. This is kind of bad.
No,
This is kind of bad.
it's not bad. It's just different.
So you can tell me better idea.
Did you have plastic surgery on your nose?
Not at all. Not
No,
at all.
never?
Yeah, never.
Your nose is natural? Oh,
Yeah.
au natural?
Yeah.
Okay. So, something good. Well, the good thing about South Korea is that it's not North Korea.
Wow, that's it?
That's the best part. It's not North Korea, so it's really good. It's
Yeah, Samsung, LG,
oh, technology.
technology, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that, but I know that. But I forgot about that. What else?
South
Really?
Korean is very friendly.
Oh, really?
As
Okay.
you see me.
Yeah, but it's only one person. I don't know everybody else. Girlish? They're so girlish.
Yeah, no, but
And I-
just only
I
K-pop.
look so pretty. Ooh. Ooh, look at me.
Third, what do you think about Donald Trump?
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, you want to support him because he's a New Yorker, but there are some crazy New Yorkers. And, you know, I just think that, I just think that our country deserves, you know, a better chance, like better. I think that, you know, I just feel like he's not, he's in over his head, I think, and that, I think it's really sad that, I think that all of the positive gains that we've made in America have all been just completely decimated, and that, it's an America that I never knew existed, and an America that I'm very saddened by. Since he's been a presidential candidate, I just, I've seen an America that I've never thought existed before, and it's very sad. It's very sad. Huzzah! Look skinny! Huzzah!
So how
Huzzah!
would you define Donald Trump in one word?
One word, misguided, maybe?
Misguided.
Misguided, yeah.
Why?
I mean, first of all, he didn't even win the popular vote. You know, there are lies going on in his administration. There are, you know, things that were in place to help people that are poor and needy are completely being eliminated. It's like, you know, it's just, it's a sad, mean time. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know, you know, that the white supremacists would feel emboldened to, like, go on marches and that, you know, and that, you know, like, when did that happen? Like, and I don't think that a president should be arguing with, you know, a family that has lost a fallen soldier. Like, he's arguing with two families, you know, and he argues with them. It's not like he, like, makes one point and it gets, you know, it drops. No, he has to fight back. It's like, how are you fighting with a person who has lost their son in the line of duty for this country? Like, how can you do that? So, it's just not, I think it just takes our country, it's just a very sad, I think Americans are so much better than that. Americans are so much better than the pettiness. We're you know, we're supposed to be, you know, the moral leaders in this world, and we've lost that. Like,
so what do I think about Donald Trump? Yeah, I think, I mean, he's clearly not a smart guy. He's a bit of a disgrace for the country. It's very sad that for a job as important as being the President of the United States, they could not find somebody smarter and more, I don't know, sensitive than him. So that's really, you know, pretty sad. Even though I think that the party he belongs to, the Republicans, they're actually probably better placed to solve the problems of the country than the Democrats are, because they have an approach which is much more pragmatic, which is much more centered around, like, giving people the responsibilities to solve their problems and giving them the tools, rather than the Democrats, who mostly what they want is to pretend that they're going to be helping everybody and they're going to be nice to everybody, but they just don't realize that at some point it doesn't work. There's not enough money for everybody. You cannot be nice with everybody. You need to draw some lines. You need to be firm on some things. You cannot always help people without end, because there's just not enough for that. So yeah, so that's why, you know, it's a shame that the Republicans could not find a better candidate than Trump, who's really not a very good image for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Moron.
Moran?
Moron.
Why do you...
Well, because he's an idiot. I mean, there's like, it's, if he were the boss of a small company, you would already be amazed that he would do that. So it's unbelievable that he managed to become the president of the United States, being as he is. So yeah, I mean, the thing is that hopefully the government is constructed in such a way that his idiocy is not going to harm too much the country, because that shouldn't happen. But in the meantime, yeah.
Moran.
It's, yeah.
He's a moron.
Yeah, you know.
I think Trump is a moron. That's that.
How would you define New York in one word?
Home.
Home.
Yeah.
And why?
Well, this is the thing too, like, it's like when I lived abroad and everything, it's like, you know, one of the things that I miss more than anything when I lived abroad was New York. It wasn't like, you know, don't say so much, don't tell my family, right? It wasn't so much about the family, but it was like, I just like the way it's just always changing. And like you go away for like a month and then that parking lot that you saw down the street is gone and they're like putting up a building. Or the store that you bought, like, you know, the greatest sandwich from is closed and now it's a coffee shop. And it's like, so it's like, it's about keeping you on your toes. Like, it's always, it's never going to be the same. And even now, like, the city is changing so much. Like, right where the High Line ends, like the over the Hudson River, there was like a railroad tracks to go into the city. And so that area was like pretty much abandoned and kind of desolate and stuff like that. So they're building above the tracks, and now we've got this whole like new city. It looks like Blade Runner. Like these like big beautiful buildings. It's like we had like this other city built called portion of Manhattan called Battery Park City, and it's like a little bit. The thing is, like, I don't understand like how you can have a city in a city. That's the thing about New York. It's just like it's like little enclaves that are just like their own little cities. They've got stores and their own like you know, mini transportation sometimes, and their movie theaters, and that little cluster of stuff becomes like a city. And then now we got this other little cluster of a city. In a city, cities are in a city. So this is what I'm saying about New York. Is like it's always keeping you on your toes, you know. And the thing about New York too is like it always attracts the best. So you know that when you're here and you're dealing with people, you're dealing with the best. You're dealing with the smartest people. You're dealing with, you know, you also deal with the worst of the worst, because it's got to be a yin and yang. But it's like, you know, like everything is just like, it's just so smart and so fast paced.
So one word was
home.
Home.
It's home. It's dynamic. You could say dynamic. When I think of New York, I say dynamic. I say casa.
Thank you.
Mine. So like, you know, like it doesn't have to be cozy, but home could be like, you know, where you feel most comfortable, where you feel most creative, where you feel like, you know, yeah, like it's like in my mind, it's like that's where, you know, that's what I think of as home. So New York has the best factors for creating creative growth. I think there's a lot of creative growth here, and it keeps you motivated because, you know, I think New York is about people being independent and motivated, and I think the more motivated you are, the more you succeed. And so so yeah, I think that New York kind of like it wants people that want what is it? Have ambition. That's what it is. New York is about ambition. You know what I mean? It's like it's about like whatever you want to be, you can be it. You know, and it doesn't have to mean. And I'm not saying that you have to run a company, but it's like But if you want to like leave your country and you know, make money and buy a house, you come to New York, right? If you don't speak the language, you can still find some way to make money. You know, you can still, there are people in the city that don't speak a lick of English, and they are like living their lives. So it's like, it's about ambition, like whatever you want. If you want to try to be the head of, start your own company, you can do that too. But if you just want to like just leave your country and change your life, you can live here in New York and do that. So whatever your dreams are, like this is a great place to try to get that accomplished.
I love that.
That's the thing about, and New York is great for oddballs because it's always other people like you in the city.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that if you really want to start something in New York, I think that this is the best city to do it because, I mean, they have, there are just so many resources, and, you know, there's the public library has a business library that you can go to. There are so many different meetups. Like, meetups are like places where if you have a similar, like people with you that have like a sort of a similar thing that they like to do. Like if you like knitting, there's a meetup for people who like to knit. If you like, you know, programming, there's a meetup group for people who like to program. So this city just has like such a high concentration. So many people that like you're bound to find someone who wants to do or is trying to do the same thing that you're doing. So there's information there. So if you want to start a business, or you want to, you know, get a loan, or you want to, you know, make a better bagel or something, there'll be a meetup that says like people who want to make a better bagel, and you're like, oh my God, there are people that want to make a better bagel. So it's like you know, there's yeah, it's just such a nice, always a nice mix of people in the city. So that's why yeah, it's just that's why it's so good to you can make your dreams come true, because there are other people here trying to do the same thing. You can find somebody just like you.
Ah.
Hello, gorgeous. Hello, gorgeous. Hello, gorgeous. Hello. Hey, welcome to New York. Stay with me. Airbnb. I'm Sue. Stay with me in my 7-room apartment. Not really, but my 7-room studio apartment. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, cool. Like here's the 1 bedroom, and I've got a guest room over here, and I've got a kitchen over here, and this is my den area, and I've got a great bathroom and a great shower. So stay with me in my 7-room studio apartment. I'm being funny, but yeah, just stay with me. It's fun.
Yeah, she's cool. Coolest in the New York. How would you define New York in 1 word?
How to define New York in 1 word? Oh, if I really can only use 1 word, I would say possibilities. That's yeah, the best way to summarize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in New York, this is really where everything is possible. It really looks like you can go from nothing to amazing things in all possible areas, and it's very hard to imagine things. I mean, obviously there are some areas which you may not be able to do in New York, but overall, anything you want to do, you think that there's always a way to do it in New York, because there's so many people and so many different interests and so many different communities that you can really try every single thing in New York, and there are very few places on earth where you can try things as much as you can in New York. So I think possibilities is the best way to describe it.
Right.
1 word for New York is wow. That's right. Come visit us. So you want to know why I picked that word? It's because when people come to New York, they always say, wow. That's all they can say. They're speechless. They can't say anything else. They're done there. As soon as they did their wow, that's it.
Okay.
No more. They can't say anything else. That's New York for you. I have everything here.